Hey, hello, welcome friends. Here we are. What's today's date? It's the 1st of February here in New Zealand. Anyway, it's 9 a.m. on Wednesday morning, 1st of February 2023. Welcome, this is Chat with Matt. I'm Matt. G'day. How can I help you? What's going on? Who's in charge here? It's not me. So yeah, half an hour or so to chat about whatever you might be interested in, might serve you. That's basically it. I'm not the Messiah. I'm the very naughty boy. Sorry, it's a line from The Life of Brian. Yeah, well, it's interesting. I find it interesting that I have the audacity to show up here and I don't know, pretend to be I'm not pretending to be, whatever the word is, offer my services out there as someone who might know something more than you, which is ridiculous. I don't know any more than you do. I just might be prepared to speak it out rather than just think it. I don't know, it's a funny thing. It really is. I often tangle with this responsibility that I hold by showing up and offering guidance, wisdom, my opinion, which is basically a lot of what it is, my opinion on things, as if it's any more important than anyone else's opinion. It's it's a bit of a trip, man. I haven't been smoking this morning. I don't smoke, but it is a bit of a trip, man. Anyway, here we are. What are we talking about? I do have a couple of questions. What's up with the weather? That's a New Zealand question. Here's my Mimi poster with a photo from the lagoon in Itataki. There, he's sitting on the edge of the beautiful water and the beautiful sand. Hey, sister Debbie Love. Deb said, I enjoy your chat and your perspectives. Enjoy the trip. Yeah, it is. And what else is there in life than to enjoy the trip, man? Because that's what we're here to do. We're here to have experiences, right? We're here to experiment, basically. We're here to experiment with how we can express ourselves as a spiritual being, as a divine being, sort of channeling our attention through a human physicality. Hey, Sister Mary, through this biology, to have a reasonably interesting experience for us as a being, as a spiritual being. Anyway, the Mimi poster said, relaxing out of the rigidity that you call stability and embracing your ability to flow as an individuality. Doesn't quite rhyme, does it? It was really annoying me. But anyway, embrace your ability to flow as an individual. Right? Relaxing out of the rigidity that you call stability. I think that's important. I think that's what a lot of us are facing right now, because what we have called stability in the past has been quite rigid. And right now the whole of society basically is being shaken out of that stability / rigidity, out of the rigidity of what we've been calling stability. Hey, Brother Rich. And that's really uncomfortable. But the more that we can relax through this process, understanding that it is a process of liberation, it's a process of us achieving more freedom for ourselves, both individually and also collectively. More freedom to express ourselves expansively, which is what we're here to do. It's what I just opened with, right? It's a trip, man. We're here to express ourselves creatively, and not be so restrained, right, by trying to maintain this rightness that we call stability and survival, right? What we perceive we need to survive to maintain our status in society, etc., right? Which is very, very rigid and quite resistant or restrictive, better word, quite restrictive for us, being more expansively expressive. And of course, yes, we need some degree of law and order. We need some form of guidelines so that people can work together cooperatively to maintain a level of functionality within our society, so that we do manage to survive collectively and individually. But that balance is being readdressed because it has become too restrictive and too controlled, too centralized in the power structure that is maintaining this rigidity that we call stability, right? The power structures, this pyramidical, tyrannical power structure that's not working anymore. Embrace your ability to flow as an individual, right? Embrace your ability to flow, not to get all mixed up with it. So now Deb asked, what's up with the weather? Because we've had all these floods up in Auckland, which is our major city in New Zealand. It's not the capital, but it's the big city in New Zealand. We only have one. We only have one big city, and it's not even that big on world standards. But anyway, it got completely devastated with floods and heavy rain. Huge amounts of damage done, some loss of life, etc. Right? So Susie replied, yeah, there's a few theories out there, around weather manipulation, etc., cloud seeding, all of that, which is more than likely, in my opinion, which is just my opinion, although I have no good evidence, and I haven't seen any great evidence to it, but, these weather events are getting more and more thing, and there's a whole agenda there, right, to push the theory of climate change. And I'm an environmentalist more than most, but I'm not in the climate change camp as it's currently being presented, because I feel that there's huge amounts of manipulation based on financial profit and control by the minority around that. And the science, as a scientist, as an engineer, the science of climate change really doesn't add up terribly well, in my opinion, again, which I know seems controversial, because you would think there's a huge number of scientists collaborating that this is a legitimate theory. Just as anyway, I won't go down the vaccination path, but a huge amount of science was put in that direction as well, and I still don't feel that was terribly well thought out or delivered. But so the point is, my friends, whether we're looking at any agenda, whether we're looking at any conspiracy, when we're looking at any projection of the external world, the important thing to remember is our external world is always a completely perfect reflection of our internal energy as a collective, not necessarily as the individual, although our individual perspective of the world around us is a reflection of our own individual energy. So what's happening when it fucking pisses with rain and pours and floods, right? An inundation of water, emotion, a purge, a clearing out, a knocking down of the structures. It's part of this purification event. So the point is, these floods, while being seen as a big wrongness, a big devastation, and of course no one wants to lose their home, and no one wants to lose the infrastructure that we rely on to live a happy, easy, joyful life where nothing is out of place and nothing is ruffled and everything is easy. But unfortunately, if we want the world to change, we're going to have to see the old things knocked down. And that's not just physical structures, but energetic structures as well, and of course mental control structures and emotional structures to some degree. Mary Sykes said, I just saw a video about how damaging the so-called windmills are, causing deaths to great whales because of the sonar frequencies. Very disturbing. Yeah, well, I don't know anything about that. There's a lot of things that haven't been well studied that we're very quick to implement in this world. And again, the whales are being potentially having problems, as is with most living beings on this world. And we care about that a lot, but worrying about it too much isn't going to help. The problem is that we all get very caught up in these various conspiracies, and it's very easy to get angry, and it's very easy to get discordant, out of alignment with the truth of what your soul is wanting to be on the planet. Very easy to get dismayed and angry, upset, etc., saddened, all of the rest of it. The external world is currently going through a massive purge, and while things are going to die, including a lot of humans are going to die over the next few decades, I'm here to tell you, in my opinion, through various mechanisms and mechanics, and a lot has been put in place, which, in terms of the health of the current population, which is very hard to undo at this stage, although everything is just energy. The point is that loss of life is not as terrible as people make it out to be. I know from the human intellect, maintaining our biological life seems imperative, and we want to do that for everyone and everything, right? We don't want to see things die. We feel sad when things die. Death scares us as an egoic being, as a personality, right? And so it's seen as a big badness, big wrongness when things die, but it is a natural part of the evolutionary process, even when it's happening in quote unquote unnatural ways, man-made ways, contrived ways, manipulated ways. Death is happening, but no soul is the victim of that, right? Every soul is coming in to this process in a way that is consentry. We consent to having this experience, right? Even if the whole planet to blow up, Mary, it's the same thing. That's death, right? There's no more to it than just death. I get it, right? I get all of these different conspiracies, and many of them have, and when I say conspiracy, I don't mean that that's a theory, I don't mean that it's not happening, I mean there's groups of beings breathing together, co-inspiring to manipulate the world in ways that suit them, right? I'm a conspiracy realist now, not a conspiracy theorist. All right, these conspiracies, most of them have a lot of validity to them, a lot of truth to them, but the point is, our job is to maintain our attention on where we're going, not on, hey, brother Gary from Mungawai at the moment. That's an awesome place to be, probably, maybe. I don't know what the weather's doing up there. But the point is, our job is to maintain our attention on what we are choosing for ourselves, and that's not a selfish thing, on ourselves and our society around us, and to maintain more of our attention on that and less of our attention on what is potentially going wrong. I'm not saying that we should bury our head in the sand and pretend that nothing's happening. It's not that at all. We must be willing to be aware of what is happening, but at the same time manage to maintain an empowered attitude towards it. It is happening as part of what is needed to happen in order for this world to evolve. Part of the disintegration is a part of what is manipulative, playing out its role in intense ways, right? So that it can basically implode, explode, and the vast majority of the population can wake up to just how manipulated we have been. Not so that things get put right, because there is no right, but so that people come back to making conscious choice from a space of awareness. And we can shout from the hilltops, get on our soapbox and tell everyone how bad what's going on is going on, and it's not going to help. People will only wake up when the vibration is high enough to take them out of their cognitive dissonance. Our job is to raise the vibration, not to get contracted in what's going wrong, what's being manipulated, what's bad and wrong in the world. The more that we focus on what's bad and wrong in the world, the more that the people doing what's bad and wrong in the world are going to have their ability to do it, because the vibration will still be low enough for them to be able to do it. As we keep raising the vibration, it will simply become impossible for people to manipulate the population to the degree they have. So the point is, my friends, is to accept that all of this manipulation is going on, and that there is nothing that we need to necessarily do about it other than to raise our vibration. And that's difficult, right? Because there's all sorts of lines here with, what we would call toxically positivity and denial, right? It's not about denying, and it's not about being toxically positive. It's about being empowered as the creative being that we be to invest our energy in creating what best serves the world, rather than to get caught up in trying to fight what we perceive as wrong. As long as we are fighting what's wrong, we are feeding what's wrong. As long as we're in judgment that things are wrong and things aren't actually opportunities for change, like the fucking windmills that are affecting the sonar of the whales is actually an opportunity, not something that's wrong. The weather manipulation that may or may not be going on that just caused devastation to Auckland and various other outlying regions is an opportunity, not something going wrong. The whole agenda that's going on with the World Economic Forum and the control mechanisms and digital currencies and digital IDs and proof of vaccination and the vaccination itself, COVID itself, all of these things are opportunities. They're all opportunities rather than things going wrong that we need to fight and then fix. This is the point, right? If we can see everything as an opportunity, we hold our vibration high. If we can hold our vibration high, more of the population will raise their vibration. As more of the population raises their vibration, the manipulation that's been going on in the world will not be able to happen, because people will be aware and people will make conscious choice from a heart-based alignment. That's basically as simple as it gets. So the point is not to get contracted around all of what is perceived going wrong, the world war in the Ukraine, the Russian, the American influence over all of that, all of this geopolitical instability, all of the financial system and the whole fucking Ponzi scheme that is the financial system can be incredibly worrying, right? How do we protect our money as if there's, some sort of lack of energy on the world. Money is just energy, right? So yeah, I think about these things too, and I take precautions. There is a potential for an earthquake. I have water stored and food stored and temporary shelter. I have opportunities to help me if there's some sort of calamity in my immediate vicinity, right? Different ways of having money and food and things. But ultimately, we have to trust. We have to trust in our being as a being, and not to get, how do we care but not worry? That's what it comes down to. How do we care for the environment without worrying about the destruction? Because if we worry about it, we're basically feeding it. This is the point. We're putting our energy into the negative outcome as opposed to putting our energy into the positive outcome. So Mary said, I like what I heard yesterday. If we all stop complying with the manipulation, it will stop. We have to keep complying for it to keep happening. I agree, Matt. Just say no and focus on what we want. Exactly. But the point is, people are going to stop complying with the manipulation when their vibration is high enough for them to see the truth. People are not going to stop complying from a basis of fear. They're not. Fearful people will always comply, right, in some way, whether it's fighting or, right, they're easily manipulated. The point is to help people stop complying. It's not to keep shouting about the manipulation. It's about to keep raising the vibration, because as we raise our vibration, we'll affect others around us, and their vibration will naturally arise, and they'll go through the awakening process, which means they'll want to fight and they'll want to scream and they'll want to go through the whole thing, right? They'll get angry. That's part of it, but they'll come through that eventually as we keep raising our vibration and holding space for everyone around us. Then they will come through that, and they will start to awaken to the truth that they are a creator being on this planet, and they will choose more consciously as opposed to complying with the agenda that's being fed to them, the program that they're being led into. So the point is, yes, we recognize that our job is to not comply, but we do that from a space of love rather than fear. We do that from a space of love rather than fight and anger. It's okay to feel angry, right? I feel angry all of the time, a lot of the time, right? Anger is arising at the moment, but how do we surf that wave of anger in a loving way as opposed to in a fearful, righteous, vindictive way that we need to knock down what's made us angry. Nothing's made us angry other than our history. And that history has been valuable to us as an evolving soul. So it's not to make history wrong, but it's to recognize that it's left residues in our field that we now need to expand out of. So I do have another question that I'm going to get to. So we've been talking about all this manipulation and stuff, and our job is just to expand out of it. Julie Ray asked, anything about when feeling that timing seems off, or about shifting timelines? And she goes on to sort of say that time has been feeling fluxy, things have been delayed and you know, rescheduled and all of the rest of it, and it doesn't seem that life is flowing very well, the gist of it. And I think that's a very common experience to be having at the moment, that everything feels messy. Nothing feels that it's like our fairy tale version of flow is everything happening sequentially easily, right? That things just lead into the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, and that's awesome. Awesome that you're watching, Julie. I just read your question to some degree. So the point is, I think it's very common that timing doesn't feel great right now. And I know for myself, I've struggled for this whole month really quite significantly with feeling competent to make decisions, right? Just about building stuff around here and stuff like that. I had to take myself out into nature, go for walks, etc., to try and find some clarity, to refine some confidence in myself that I can make a decision and build something. And I'm a builder, right? Well, used to be, not a qualified one, but anyway. I'm working, like there's a deck getting built right out the front of this thing with a pergola over the front of it. We have made some decisions in the last week or so that have helped move forward. But the point is, nothing feels like great timing at the moment. Everything feels messy, and there are lots of different influences happening. You know, we've had several things happen with our children that have made life quite messy and uncomfortable, you know, this month. So this, I think, is very normal. Everything feels off. The point is, for me, it's just to regulate the nervous system first and foremost, because stress really doesn't help with this. And it's very easy to feel stressed right now. It's very, very easy to feel stressed in this process of deep purification. There's a lot of crap coming up for each of us individually and for us societally, and that tends to instigate a stress response, right? It tends to leave us feeling uncomfortable and unsafe, right, when we're feeling such levels of discordance in our field, and then it's hard to feel confident to progress with things, right? And if we're not feeling confident, then we tend to see our doubts reflected back to us. I'll read that in a sec, Jill, about the robin. Birds, wildlife is also is very comforting quite often, even if it's just a little sparrow or a robin or whatever. So the point is to relax your nervous system as best you can. Choose to keep remembering that you are safe and that it's all okay, that things aren't flowing as fluidly, comfortably, efficiently as you would like, and be willing to adjust, adapt, and accommodate to what is showing up in the moment. To get out of trying to orchestrate plans, try and get out. I know it's hard, right? We schedule things, and we have this world runs on schedules and timings and appointments and all of this thing, right? That's how the world has been structured up until now. In the name of efficiency, we do this thing, we rely on this thing, where's my watch gone? We rely on this thing called the time, right? This time thing that tells us, you know, that gives us the opportunity to plan when we're going to meet people and when we're going to do things and what time we should get to work and what time we should leave work and even what time we should eat, right? Rather than noticing when we're hungry or not. We do this world by the clock on the calendar, which is all very manipulated and orchestrated and not necessarily very in alignment with our soul and our heart, but it seems to work quite well efficiently from the logical mind's point of view, and so that's what we do. And we're having to loosen up on that. Right? That level of logic control, manipulation of this sort of ability to follow our heart into action is having to loosen up. I'm not saying we're going to get rid of the clock and the calendar completely, not for a long time yet on this planet, I don't feel, but it's time for us to loosen up our grip on how tightly we plan to do things, and how we try and time things out, and how we feel that things are good when they go in an efficient manner, right? And one thing flows into the next and everything seems to line up, and we think that that's good and right, and we're being very spiritual and very connected when that happens. And potentially we're having to loosen up on all of that so that we can relax into allowing life to be as messy as it is, and recognizing that that isn't a wrongness, and that isn't us failing, and that isn't the timing being quote unquote off, but rather just giving us opportunity to really live life in a moment, right? And a messy moment's just as valuable as a fluid moment, right? Just as valuable as an efficient moment where we're being productive and things are flowing and we're egoically loving it because we love to be productive. We love to get things done. We love to tick things off our list, right? We love that. We love that. We feel very proficient, very successful as a human, as an ego when that is happening, and we feel much less right and comfortable when we fuck around all day and things keep going quote unquote wrong. Right? We try and do this and it doesn't work out, and we try and do that and it doesn't work out, and we think, oh, the timing's off, what have I done wrong, I haven't planned this properly, nothing seems to be working for me today. We get all upset, but we're still having an experience as a soul through a human biology, and that's all we're here to do. And if we can relax into the rightness of that mess, then we won't suffer nearly so much, and maybe unironically we will start to see that there's value in that messiness, and there is actually a degree of productivity in that. We start to recognize that in things not working out, we're actually releasing energies that are preventing us from achieving the big outcomes that we desire. We're having these false starts as preparation, energetically, not necessarily logically, but as energetic preparation for what we are choosing to achieve, right? As a more expansive expression, as a more purposeful expression of ourselves. We have to go through a process to get there. And that might look like failure. It might look like a mess. It might look like plans going to rack and ruin, or, you know, shit on a stick. Which stinks, by the way. Don't put shit on a stick. Sorry. The point is, I just got the vision. So, I don't know why. But that's not neither here nor there. So the point is to accept. When timing seems off, it's a process, and it's not to get contracted around, and it's not to get it stuck in the wrongness. Because as soon as we make something wrong, we get stressed. As soon as we get stressed, everything slows down and everything gets more and more doubtful, right? Doubts predominate when we're in a stressed state, and confidence is diminished when we are stressed, because biologically we start looking for threats far more intensely when we are stressed than when we are not stressed. When we're not stressed, we have the opportunity to look for opportunities, right? When we're stressed, it gets very hard to see opportunities and much more easy to see threats, because that's what the biology is tending us towards. We startle, our focus goes on that, right? We just got this biological drive to find what's wrong, what's dangerous. I feel stressed, therefore there's some danger in this room and I've got to find it now. And right when we're in that mode, we tend to find various forms of danger, right? We open our computer and see about the weather manipulation and what the windmills are doing to the whales, right? And we go, well, that's why I'm feeling so stressed, because the world's effed up, right? Talk to your teenagers about this and your young adults, right? They've got all of this negative information being projected their way while they're feeling all of their angst of the normal process of growing up, right? All of their doubts as the ego starts to find itself, then all of these reasons why, you know, you would feel doubtful, which then creates all of these narratives, and of course it feels very hopeless for them. Anyway, we're just about finished, so I'm just going to, hopefully that helped Julie Ray about timing. I'm just going to scroll back through the comments because I have a feeling I missed a couple of things. Yeah, I got Mary's comment. Jill said before, and I missed this, I'm finding it really tough to stay in the flow and not wallow in the pondering of what is, like, what if XYZ happens? Ooh, happens. To derail what I am choosing for the future. Every time I see a friend, they ask me how the move is going and what's happened. The building society keeps chasing me for updates and telling me that I have no new facts, but I am staying a positive energy to allow it to happen. Doesn't seem to satisfy them. Last week I thought it was all happening today. Then next day I got told maybe 2 weeks. I'm knackered and finding focus difficult. Yeah, so you've just got to trust, Jill, that this whole situation that you're going through is actually facilitating the release of energy that's been locked in your field for probably lifetimes. To maintain your faith and also to relax into compassion and not to necessarily fight against it. Be willing to recognize that all these fears and these doubts coming up that XYZ might happen is part of your releasing process. Remember, what you're feeling is what you're releasing. What you're thinking about quite often is what you're releasing. Keep choosing to relax through the process and keep just gently bringing yourself back to a degree of positivity, and at the same time allow yourself to feel the dismay, allow yourself to feel the sadness, allow yourself to feel the grief, allow yourself to feel the frustration, allow yourself to feel the exhaustion, because it is all valid. And the more that you allow yourself to feel what's going on without becoming consumed by it, right, because you recognize that it's just what you're feeling, which is what you are releasing, then you will be able to maintain a level of positivity through this situation, because you're not necessarily trying to fight against what you perceive as negative, right? Feeling exhausted, feeling sad, feeling hopeless, all of that's coming up to release. So let it come up to release, and at the same time trust that it is not the reality of your situation, even though your reality doesn't look good from an external metrics of logic. The situation is a little bit dire, and foreclosure and all of these problems are potentials, but you have to trust that you as the spiritual being are going through this process and nothing is going wrong, and stop fighting against what you perceive as a threat and start aligning yourself with what you perceive is an opportunity. I'm then going to come on and read your more recent comment. I went outside and cleared the back garden out all day today with the company of a gorgeous robin singing to me. Helped the positivity. Yeah, so awesome. Recognizing that there is support available to you, and it is being expressed to you through the simplest act of a small bird keeping company with you and lifting your spirits. So trust that that is just an indication of the enormous amount of energetic support that's available and around you and there for you, and choose not to get overly stressed out and contracted in what you are experiencing, which is a very difficult situation, right? It's very difficult. Our homes are very important to us. It's a very integral part of our stability, our survival, our security, and to have all of this in flux at the moment and for so long now, with so many different agendas playing out, is difficult. So definitely holding space for you to go through what is difficult, and encouraging you to relax with compassion through the process. So my friends, that is it for Chat with Matt today. Hopefully that has helped and I haven't missed any comments. If I have, please feel free to reach out again, either put another comment on, or I will read through the comments that are there and answer anything that I missed. And we'll be back next week, same time, same place, to have another chat. If you feel that we could help you in the meantime and you need some more individual or private or energetic help, then reach out. Either you just ask here and I'll send you a link, or start an email or whatever, and we can talk about what's going on for you, and how we might be able to help in a more direct way than just having a chat in a group setting, which is very one-sided. Awesome. I'm glad that that helps, Sister Jill. Hey, Deb, go well. Hopefully you are okay where you are. And all my other friends who are watching from Auckland or other places that have had substantial amounts of rain, definitely holding space for you all to dry out, and to trust that this process is part of the big purification of a lot of emotion that has been stored up, both for Mother Earth and for us as humanity and for nature itself. So beautiful. Well done. Glad that's good, Deb. Much love. Bye for now. Keep smiling, my friends. Have a laugh, you know. Fuck. It's not that serious, this thing called life. Bye for now.